Jim Littles, Academic Director for Purpose Institute. The objective of this video is to demystify the placement covenant. We're calling it a covenant instead of a contract because of the biblical language that's associated to it. A covenant is an agreement between two parties. Generally, one of the parties is a superior to a subordinate. So God made a covenant with Abraham. Obviously, we know who the superior was in that case. So this learning covenant is an opportunity for agreement between the supervisor and the student on what their placement is going to be for that specific field experience credit. So on the form, the top is simply contact information. Students' responsibility to fill that in with their name and address, their email, phone number. Also, you're going to need the PI campus placed in there and the local PI campus field experience director and their contact information. That's necessary so that the supervisor will know how to contact that PI field experience supervisor should it be necessary. In that background information, you're also going to put how many semesters you've been in PI. You can see that by logging on to the website, checking your transcript. You'll see how many semesters you've completed if you don't remember offhand. The reason for that is we're expecting for ongoing development. The local campus field experience director will be keeping a record of all of these. Suggest all of you students keep a record as well, your own file, so that you can track your learning over time. And as you will see in a few moments, there will be a spot where you need to reference previous learning as you go forward. The placement information section of the form, you will put in the dates of the placement. Since it's 5 hours for one credit, or if you're doing a double field experience in one semester, 10 hours, that could be completed in one day. So perhaps your children's ministry is doing a big top event on a Saturday where you're having all kinds of children's activities for the church and reaching into the community. Maybe you're doing support for that. So it might be in one day. It might be completed from 8 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon. Where is that location going to happen? And the supervisor's email and contact information. Next, you're going to check off the area of ministry service. Local church participation. Is this something that's overseen by a local church department for in-house kinds of things? Disciple making. This is evangelism, home Bible study, first impressions kinds of pieces, or in line with Stan Gleason's excellent book, Leading to Serve. Maybe you've been assigned by pastor to be a discipler for a certain group of people. Maybe you are a university student or engaged in campus university ministry. It might be there in terms of disciple making. And missional engagement, this is service in the community. Community can be across the street, community could be on the other side of the globe. All of that is missional, a missional service. The supervisor for that could be someone from your local congregation who is leading up an initiative such as a food bank or an after-school mentoring program. Or it might be a supervisor who is from the community with no connections to your church. It could be something like a crisis intervention hotline or refugee placement program for someone who is being placed in your city under the auspice of the United Nations. Whatever that program might be, serving in the local community. Next thing you're going to do is describe your ministry service area. What task are you going to complete? This one is placed in this order, but you may want to complete the next piece first. What is the objective for the placement? Again, I want to demystify this a little bit. Objectives are what are the outcomes? What do you want to learn? It's not what are you going to do, but how do you want to be changed by this? Now, the objectives can be cognitive, okay? It can be mental, things that you learn mentally. It can be internal, affective. So, for instance, if you're being tasked to reach into the local nursing home, you may have some anxiety over relating to someone with Alzheimer's conditions. So it might be an affective area to address the fear that I have when caring with Alzheimer's patients. Or perhaps you have lost a loved one recently and nursing homes and hospitals are frightening for you. Well, that would be more of an affect, emotional objective. And finally, it could be a behavioral objective. These are some things I'm specifically wanting to do. So it can be some cognitive objectives, it can be some affective objectives, or some behavioral objectives. You're going to identify 2 learning points there. Those of you that have taken college educational courses, you might consider Krathwohl's and Bloom's taxonomies in these areas. Not necessary unless you have pursued education in other venues. So you have these 2 outcome objectives that are going to be learned while serving. Okay, so service is one piece of it. You learning from your service is the other piece of it. So the field experience director is going to make sure students have objectives that come out of their service. Field experience directors, what is the student doing? What are they learning? Supervisors, I'm having someone teach algebra in an after-school program. So they're going to be teaching some algebraic formula to the student. That's what they're doing. But what are they learning through the process? They might be learning how to help someone with a learning disability, or they might be helping someone who has, from an underprivileged background, a non-literate home life. Might be teaching remedial reading kinds of things, walking with someone through that. So what are they doing? What is the objective that they're wanting to address? And for the student, what do you need to learn while you are serving? That is an overview of this form. At the bottom of the page, you're going to need these signatures: the student signature, supervisor signature, and the field experience director signature. And each of those will be dated. The students and the supervisor, those will happen first. They will go to the field experience director when it's signed off. For a student, you may want to talk to your field experience director as you're putting this together, but the final one will be the director. I suggest students, before you hand these in, make a copy of them for your own records. Those of you that are techno people, this could be on your iPad and you get a digital signature and email it to people. Whatever works best for you is good. Hopefully this short video has demystified the process. Student, if you have a question with it, see your field experience supervisor. They'll be more than happy to help cue you in. And field experience supervisors, if you have a question about it after watching all of these videos and seeing the field experience handbook, please send me an email with your question. jlittles@purposeinstitute.com. Thank you, and Lord bless.